Let's get started. First thing I like to do is analyze my client's brows. As you can see, my model today, her right brow is higher than her left brow. This is something that I would point out to the client because once you put the tint on, it makes their brows look bolder. So their imperfections kind of are very noticeable. So you definitely want to let them know ahead of time. And most of the time, they're already aware of the imperfections. Now I'm going ahead and wiping the model's eyebrows with alcohol 91%. And then I'm going to go ahead and brush up the brows so I can start mapping them. How I map them is I start with the middle of the nostrils straight up. I make my first point, and that is the beginning of the brows. My second point will be the end of the brows. The end of the brows is from the end of the nostril to the corner of the eye, and that would be my second point, and that would be the end of the brow. To get my arch, I have the client look straight ahead from the middle of the nostril to the pupil of her eye. I will make my arch. So then that gives you your 3 points. So the beginning, the arch, and the end. My next step is to outline the brows. I'm basically taking a brow pencil and I'm going ahead and outlining the shape that I would like to give the client. By outlining the brow, this will prevent you from waxing or arching your client incorrectly. And it also gives you an idea of what shape you would provide the client before tinting their brows. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a line on the bottom and a line on the top. This will let me know where my bottom outline and my top outline begin, so that the brows will be more symmetric and they'll be the same width. Now we have mapped the brows and outlined the brows. As you can see, one of the brows is higher than the other, like stated in the beginning of the video. And we're going to go ahead and begin to wax them. Now, you want to brush the hairs up when doing the bottom wax. And when waxing the top, you want to brush the hairs down. You want to apply a thin layer of wax the direction the hair grows. You want the wax to be thin because once you place that strip on the wax, You don't want any wax to get into areas that you didn't want wax. Now you're going to place the strip and apply a little pressure, and you'll rip the strip the opposite direction the hair grows. That means from her ear to her nose. Now when you apply the wax, you applied it from her nose to her ear. Now, if there is any residue from the wax after you applied the wax and then applied the strip, you just press that strip down on any residue on the skin and it'll pick it right back up. Now, as you can see, I passed through the top once again just to make sure that that wax was thin enough. And now I'm applying that strip. And again, I'm going to pull the opposite direction the hair grows. Now when waxing the middle, you want to do the same thing. Place the wax the direction the hair grows, which in the middle, hair grows upwards. So we're applying the wax upwards. And when we apply that strip, you're going to rip it downwards. Now, because you have that outline, it allows you to not over wax the middle. I've seen so many people whose brows are so far apart because people over wax the hair in the middle. Now we're going to go ahead and tweeze any hairs that didn't get waxed. I'm just using a regular tweezer from Sally's. And you're just pulling it the direction the hair grows. If you pull it the opposite way, you're just going to break off the hair and you're not going to pull it out from the follicle. So when pulling it out, make sure that you're pulling it out the direction the hair grows. And also holding that skin taut, meaning that you're stretching that skin, makes it a lot more easy to pull out the hair when tweezing. Now I'm going to go ahead and brush the hairs up, and I'm going to trim any hairs that are outside of the outline. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean off her brows with alcohol. You definitely want to let your client know that, hey, this may burn. And it's just going to take any extra wax, any pencil, any oils you may have put on there, because you need a clean brow before tinting them. Now I'm going to go back with that pencil and I'm going to do an outline on the bottom and then on the top of the tail of the brow. And this is just going to allow me to have a more clean tint application. So I'm going to start tinting the brows. I always start in the middle with the tint. I'm not adding any extra product at the moment. I'm going to do my first layer throughout the brow without adding any extra product. I do have a spoolie brush, and the spoolie brush is basically a mascara wand, guys. And that's just blending out the tint, just making sure that that tint is evenly distributed through the entire brow. And then that Q-tip has my tint remover. Now, I notice a lot of people order my tint, they never take the remover. The remover will clean up any areas that you did not want tinted. I never do anybody brows without having my angle brush, my tint remover, and my spoolie in my hand. And then, like, I'm going in with another layer now because I went to the front of the brow, because the front of her brows are like, she doesn't really have that much hair in the front and then on the tail. So if she had a lot of hair in the front, I probably would not even put tint on there. But she doesn't have a lot in the front. She just has a lot of brows, more so in the middle. But she has amazing brows. So I literally put one layer throughout the whole brow, and then I'm adding another layer on the tail because that's her areas where she doesn't have too much hair. And tint tends to be lighter where there's only skin and no hair. So by adding that extra layer on the tail, it just makes it look more evenly distributed throughout the brow. And then the spoolie is just like basically blending everything out. So your spoolie is your friend, the tint remover is your friend, and this is dark brown brow tint, and you're basically applying it like a pomade. And yes, it is safe to keep on your clients' brows. Don't worry about keeping it on, because I don't wipe the brow tint off, because throughout the day what's going to happen is your client is going to go home, they're going to take a shower, they're going to go to sleep, whatever, it's going to fade itself out. Now with brow tint, and this is any brow tint, it doesn't matter, brow tint, henna, brow tint and henna, they're like, the henna's a lot stronger than brow tint, but brow tint is not a permanent fix. If you tell the clients it can last 1 to 2 weeks, some people can get 2 days, some people can get 3 weeks. I have different clients tell me different things. I don't know what they do when they last 3 weeks. It's none of my business. But I tell my clients, just wash around it, let it naturally fade on its own. If it does not last for you, it just doesn't last for you. Everybody's skin is different, and everybody's gonna get a different effect. That's why I don't wash it off, because it's naturally going to wash itself off. But like I said, it is safe to keep on a client's brows. Now, if a client is allergic to hair dye, then it will not be safe to use on them. If they say, hey, I had tint before and I broke out, do not use the tint on them, because tint has the same developer as hair dye, and normally it's the developer that breaks the clients out. So because this is a premix with a developer, it will break out your client if they say, hey, when I get my hair dye, I break out. Do not tint their brows, because it is the same developer, so they will break out. Now I'm going in and trying to adjust the front of her brows, because she has more hair on the right side than she has on that left side. You're right, not her right. And a lot of clients are like this, where the front does not look the same. You just add tint and you brush it with a spoolie. And it's just going to make it look more symmetrical. They're not going to be perfect. Remember that the brows are always going to be sisters, not identical twins. And then I'm going to go back and outline the brows before I add a little concealer on the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and add concealer. The concealer shade can be 1 to 2 shades lighter than your client's skin tone. And I'm just following literally the very bottom of the brow. I don't use concealer as a clutch, which I notice a lot of people do. My brows, I tend to keep them as clean as possible before the concealer. Just because some people, I really don't put concealer, especially if it looks real clean. I don't use concealer, and I'm just using the back of a Q-tip, the other end of the Q-tip that had no tint remover. I just use that to blend it out, back and forth. But the concealer I'm using is the LA Girl Pro Concealer. I use that, or I use, I think it's Ruby Kisses little concealer. I think it's like a contour palette actually, but it works really good. I like their little concealer under the brows. But like I said, I just apply it with a regular concealer brush and I just blend it back and forth. This is a finished product. My client really enjoyed her brows, and I hope you guys learned a lot from this video.